Imagine buying an old Ford Cortina for just £100, thinking it was nothing more than a tired project car. That is exactly what happened to classic car enthusiast Jim Payton. At a small local classic car rally, a man arrived towing a worn-out four-door Ford Cortina Mk2. The car looked rough, incomplete, and in poor condition. Hoping to get rid of it, the owner simply asked Jim, "What would you give me for it?" Jim looked the car over and made what seemed like a safe offer, £100. The seller accepted immediately. At first glance, the purchase didn't seem remarkable. But as Jim examined the car more closely, he noticed something that didn't make sense. Inside were genuine Lotus Cortina components. The dashboard, interior fittings, and several other details all appeared to belong to a Lotus Cortina. There was only one problem. The body was a four-door, and Lotus Cortinas sold to the public were built as two-door cars. It looked like someone had mixed Lotus parts into an ordinary Cortina, or so Jim believed. Before loading the car onto his trailer, he asked for the registration documents. The seller admitted he no longer had them. Someone at the show had wanted a souvenir and had taken the old logbook. Fortunately, one important clue remained. The original tax disc was still sitting in the windscreen. It displayed the registration number. Using that registration, Jim later applied to the DVLA and successfully obtained replacement registration records. With the paperwork sorted, the mystery Cortina was rolled into his garage, where it would sit untouched for several years. Sometimes, history waits patiently to be discovered. Weeks became months, months became years. The forgotten Cortina gathered dust in the corner of Jim's lock-up garage, while other projects took priority. Eventually, curiosity got the better of him. He began stripping the car apart. Seats came out. The carpets were removed. The dashboard was dismantled. Jim even sold some of the parts, believing they were simply valuable Lotus components that someone had fitted years earlier. But then everything changed. Hidden beneath the interior was a mounting arrangement for a split prop shaft. To most people, it meant nothing. To Jim, it meant everything. That feature wasn't found on ordinary Cortinas. It was a genuine Lotus, specific engineering detail. Moments later, he opened the bonnet and started clearing away years of dirt and leaves. Another clue appeared. There was a factory opening for the throttle cable used by the famous Lotus twin-cam engine. These weren't modifications made by a previous owner. They were factory-built features. Jim immediately stopped dismantling the car. Instead of continuing, he pushed it back into the garage. This was no longer just another restoration project. It was becoming a mystery that demanded answers. Who had built this unusual four-door Cortina? And why did it carry so many genuine Lotus features? Jim was determined to find out. As Jim continued inspecting the stripped-down shell, one question wouldn't leave his mind. Why did an ordinary four-door Cortina have factory Lotus components? While clearing dirt and leaves from the engine bay, he spotted another crucial clue: a factory opening for the Lotus twin-cam accelerator cable. This wasn't a later modification. It had been built into the car from the factory, combined with the split prop shaft mounting points. The evidence pointed to one conclusion. This Cortina had originally been built with genuine Lotus mechanical features. Jim stopped the restoration immediately. Instead of taking the car apart any further, he pushed it back into the garage and began investigating its history. With help from the Lotus Cortina register, he discovered something remarkable. The registration number immediately after his car belonged to a documented four-door Lotus equipped police vehicle. Suddenly, everything started to make sense. Although Lotus never sold a production four-door Lotus Cortina to the public, this car appeared to be something very different, a specially prepared police vehicle. There was only one place that could confirm the truth: Cambridgeshire Police. What Jim discovered next would completely change the story of his £100 bargain.